Is your lower back keeping you from walking for extended period? And previously, I did a few videos on how to control anterior pelvic tilt or excessive lumbar extension while sitting and standing. And several people asked me to do a video on how to control anterior pelvic tilt while walking. So here it is. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 movement strategies that I use to reduce extension stress to my lower back while walking. And so if you haven't watched my previous anterior pelvic tilt videos, and please make sure to watch them when you get a chance. If you want to learn how to retrain your body and then movement safely and then effectively and then move better, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I am Taro Iwamoto. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner. With my backgrounds in athletic training, physical therapy, martial arts, and the Feldenkrais method, I have helped many people like you overcome and then move beyond the pain and the limitations. Now it's your turn, and let's dive in. So strategy number 1, what I call lengthening the spine. And so when you walk, and naturally as you are stepping forward and pushing off, and that force is going to move the pelvis. It tends to move the pelvis forward and it tends to arch the lower back for many people. Right? So you can see if I exaggerate as I'm stepping through and pushing off, you can see how the force and goes forward and then it pushes the lumbar spine into this direction, pushes my pelvis into these directions. So instead of allowing the pelvis to go forward, and as you push off and think about you directing the force and to lengthen upward to the top of the head. Okay, I'm gonna exaggerate. So not that you have to be exaggerating and walking like this, but just so you can sit. So as I'm pushing off and think about the forces, allowing the force to come up through the spine and to the top of the head. So instead of the force going through forward, right, upward. So you actually, each step, and it really helps to lengthen the spine, and then I stay taller. So it's not like up and down, but I'm maintaining the length in my spine as I'm walking. Of course, it's not probably natural for you, so you do have to practice and to first you do it slowly, taking a step down, and you can actually feel that force is going up through you. You can direct the force to up to the top of the head. Here, up, and then up. You can practice putting one hand on top of your head and then taking a step and then pushing off, and then you can feel the force coming up to the top of the head and maintaining that length. So this way, you are controlling the force and then redirecting the force instead of allowing that to be going forward to create anterior pelvic tilt. But you are actually directing the force to the top of the head so that there isn't as much anterior shear force to the spine. There isn't as much anterior pelvic tilt. So that's the strategy number 1. And strategy number 2, posterior pelvic tilt, and initiating that push off intentionally using your hip extensors. So that would be your hamstrings and that would be your gluteus muscles, right? And similar to the first one, the lengthening the spine, but this time you're going to be paying more attention to that back leg and then pushing off. And then as you are starting to push off and transferring the weight to the front leg, so you can think about actively, you're pushing. So here's a little practice and exercise. So you split your feet and then weight shifting from the back leg to the front leg as if you are going to walk, right? And then how you transfer the weight, you pay attention to the back foot and then directing that foot and pushing that foot down and then in backward directions, as if you're going to, okay, do that motion. here. So intentionally you're using the hip extension muscles, and the effect of that would be it will counteract that anterior pelvic tilt, because the hip extensors are going to tilt the pelvis and posteriorly, and then it keeps the spine from going to extension. So by shifting your attention and then intentionally using the hip extensors to posterior pelvic tilt, and that will counteract that natural tendency to anterior pelvic tilt here. So you may have to practice first, and you can just practice just doing this part, weight transfer from a back leg to the front leg by trying to push the back foot down and backward into that directions. There. And then you're going to switch the leg, and then practice intentionally, almost like ice skating. All right, almost like you can practice sliding your foot on the floor first, and so to get a better sense of how to direct that force down and back into the directions here. So just like the first one, or any actually new strategies, you do have to take your time to practice, because this is not your habitual normal way to walk. And to change your walking or to change any movement patterns, it requires a lot of repetitions, and then it requires you to slow down your movements, and then you practice. And it's not going to feel easy, it's not going to feel natural, of course, but practice, and it'll be worthwhile and to try that, because you are already having a difficulty with the walking because of that habitual pattern. So take your time to practice that. And that's the number 2 strategy. And then the strategy number 3, pelvic rotation. And so this one is a very, very different strategies, and sometimes I call model walk. So I'm going to exaggerate, and just so you can see better, I'm going to put my hands on my pelvis here, and then as I am stepping forward, I am directing the pelvis. I'm turning the pelvis towards the front leg. Okay, I'm exaggerating so that you can see it. Okay, here and here. Okay, you can see how I'm turning my pelvis towards the front leg here. So what I'm doing with this strategy is I am using the pelvic rotation to counteract anterior pelvic tilt. And for you, maybe not, this is not the natural way to walk. And slowly do this. Practice, and then as it gets easier, and then you make it more natural. Okay, here. Well, you can also practice putting your hands in your pockets, and then you can do so this way, still exaggerating, and then it becomes more natural. So these are the 3 strategies that I use to counteract an anterior pelvic tilt, because I do have an anterior pelvic tilt, and then if I'm not paying attention, and if I'm walking for a long time, and then yes, I do tend to feel discomfort in my lower back, and so I do utilize these strategies. And which one to use, and you can experiment. You don't have to stick to one or the other. In fact, you can kind of play with all 3 combinations, and then you mix and match, and just to figure out the one that works the best for you. Or you may come up with your own strategies, but at least these are the 3 strategies that I come up with, and then I play with, and I use that. So hopefully this will be helpful, and again, and this is not going to come easily, but at least you have alternatives to your walking patterns, and then you can play with it, and then see if you can actually reduce the amount of the extension stress to your low back, and then you can feel more comfortably for longer periods of time. If you want to improve your back pain, be sure to grab your free movement guide to pain-free back at the link below. Check out these videos, and if you like this video, and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. Comment below how helpful you found this video was. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Happy mindful movement. Bye bye.